The next speaker, the purpose of an icebreaker speech is for a member to introduce themselves to the club. Andrew Bern, MD and Distinguished Toastmaster, will be starting a new path, at this point unselected. However, all 11 paths start with the same formatted icebreaker speech. The Bureau of Labor Statistics published a study from 2015 that looked at the number of jobs a person held between the ages of 18 and 50. It turns out that the average person has 12 jobs during that time frame. USA Facts stated, in 1865, the average life expectancy was 35.1 years. In 1965, the year the Medicaid law was passed, life expectancy was 55 years. In 2020, life expectancy was at 78.81 years. And Alexander Graham Bell once stated, when one door closes, another one opens, but we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one which has opened for us. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, please welcome Andrew Bern, MD, Distinguished Toastmaster, as he presents his icebreaker speech titled Crossroads of Change. Andrew Bern.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Today I'm going to focus on this question. When I was growing up, I was asked often, and what do you want to do when you grow up? What is your path that you want to take through life? And of course, everything that you do in childhood and school always focuses on where you're going. For me, in elementary, junior, and high school, my passion was music. I played piano, organ, clarinet, sax, and accordion, believe it or not. In 1965 at the World's Fair, I was in an accordion band in competition. In high school, I served with my clarinet on a marching band that won state recognition. This led me and influenced me to getting a music scholarship to Syracuse University. As I walked around looking at Syracuse University and their music program, I had an epiphany that if I joined this program, they'd have me working all summer long doing concerts in Europe, nice perk, but I'd be in the marching band for every game from the fall to the spring. By that time, I was considering a life in medicine. It was a calling. And I said, if I was to go to Syracuse, I would never have time to prepare a career in medicine because Syracuse had no value in doing anything other than preparing for the games and the musicians in the games. I hit a crossroads and I went to State University of New York at Stony Brook and was very academically focused. But it was like going to a smorgasbord of activities, lots of different courses. I couldn't make a decision. And because of that, I was very taxed. Why, would you ask? Because I had not one major, not two majors. I had three majors. I had biology, I had psychology, and I had a third one, political science. So I was very, very busy. I ran 20-hour days every day. I was what you call in that time period, 68 to 72, an activist. Things that bothered me that led to this is not just I got involved with. One example, Stony Brook was a city of 35,000. In the time of drugs and free love and all sorts of activity, we didn't have a hospital on campus. There was a quirky state law that said that they couldn't compete with the regular industry. And remember the time frame I gave you, 68 to 72. Some of you were not even born at that point in time. But I can tell you one thing. There were no ambulances. There was no EMS system in that time frame. I thought that was outrageous, got together with my colleagues, and together we created the first student-owned and operated ambulance company in the country. Think about it. If you had an accident on campus, it would take 30 minutes to get to the closest hospital and 30 minutes to get back. And the ambulances were being dispatched by the hospitals. So you're looking at an hour's trip. That was insane to us. We created our own ambulance corps. We brought the Red Cross on campus, and we all became trained in Red Cross techniques, ACLS, BCLS, and transportation. This led to an increasing interest in medicine, and that was another crossroads that I went through. But I didn't forget my music passion. While on campus, I served at the radio station, and I played lots of music and had a regular show. I also lived in the dorm that was called the music floor. We had an audio engineer create all of our speakers. We had a son of Crazy Eddie from New York that was a discount music guy that could sell us any electronic gear that you could possibly think of. Every weekend, we'd bring all the records from the radio station, and we'd have 16 tape players going, copying every single record. So I still kept my music, even though I wasn't playing as much. And then I had the next component for the last 40 years, medicine, specifically emergency medicine, disaster medicine. And the skills that I needed for that are very different from Toastmasters that I've been involved with for the last 8 years. And here's how they're different. In medicine, the focus is on the individual, making decisions as an individual. Toastmasters, the decision-making is as a team and building teams and communicating to teams. Big life change. I ask you to think over your life. How many crossroads or paradigm shifts have you made in your life? That's the message I want to leave with everybody, that during this long life that we now have, living to 78 and now estimating people born this year can live to as much as 150 years of age. Don't rush it. You have plenty of time. Fulfill your passions and think about how you want to communicate those passions to others. Mr. Toastmaster.
Andy Bern, so glad to hear your very first speech with our club. Crossroads in change. I think what you excelled in is organization of your speech. It was very well put together. You had good eye contact. We very clearly understood what you had to say. And we got to know a little more about you, and that you are a real thinker and you like to create things to help others. I would have liked to know a little bit more about what kind of music that you really played or was interested in. And I know your speech is kind of short, but you probably could have started it off with not telling us about the question, but just asking the question as if it was for us and pausing. So what I would suggest for you to work on is pauses. And I know if you just pause, you get everybody's attention a little bit more and gives them time to think about what you just said. Little more vocal variety would have been fun. You did have your hand gestures this way, but sometimes I don't know how to say this. I like to see your body move a little bit. You're kind of like just talking straight, but that's just me. I really liked the message that you had about going from an individual to being on a team, because I think that's really where we really grow, in working with one another and allowing them to grow at that time. But I'm really, and maybe can smile a little bit more, but I really did enjoy your speech. And there you go. That it makes a big difference to me. Anyway, makes me wonder what you're up to, right? Just kidding. It does make a difference when you feel like you're happy in delivering your speech. So thank you for your journey and all the things that you've done, from being a doctor, going through DTM, making music. I'd like to hear a little bit more about the music in the future. So thank you, Andy.